Hello, it is Thursday, January 27th, 2022. I'm Chris Remo, and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. This will hopefully be a smoother episode today. I can see that I'm recording the audio properly right now, so we won't have a repeat of yesterday's disaster. At least I don't think so at this moment. And this, hopefully smoother, edition of the Daily Solve is brought to you by a few benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, including new benefactor Trash Snack. So welcome, Trash Snack, and thank you. As well as Bradley Pirtle and, as always, the inestimable Hood Monster. So like I said, all three of them are benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, and that's the way you can help support this series and this channel, helping me make this series part of my daily work. So I very much appreciate everybody who's backed to that Patreon campaign in any capacity. And indeed, at any level, you get access to all of the bonus solves that have gone up to date, as well as the new ones each week. And at the benefactor level, you get that bonus mug, the exclusive Let's Check the Crosses mug. And all patrons get access to an additional channel on the Daily Solve Discord chat server. And speaking of that, I was just in there this morning and I noticed there have been a few more community-created crosswords in the Constructor's Corner channel, and I think at this point there might be enough to do another solve of several community-created crosswords for the Patreon feed, and I've enjoyed that immensely every time I've done it, because those crosswords because they're obviously made by different people, they have a very different vibe to the New York Times, because they're not edited, as always, by Will Shortz. You can really sort of feel the personal style and sensibility of the people who created them, and it's just a nice change. So hopefully that'll be up on the Patreon feed soon when I can find some time to solve some more of those. Anyway, all that said, stick around to the end of the video if you'd like to see some comments. So you hear, I suppose, some comments from yesterday's video. But for now, I'm going to solve today's crossword, the Thursday crossword. This has been constructed by Lewis Rothline, who appears to be a debut constructor, collaborating with Jeff Chen, very much not a debut constructor. Jeff Chen is essentially, I suppose, sort of a legendary figure in the New York Times crossword scene. He oversees xwordinfo.com, which is an incredibly valuable resource around the history of the New York Times crossword. It's an archive and many other things, and has constructed well over 100 puzzles for the New York Times crossword. So very experienced, and they were both edited, as always, by Will Shortz. So I can see there's some sort of symbol repeating. It looks like a musical repeat symbol. I wonder if that's what that is. That's interesting. Ready to get started. Okay. So the thing I'm observing here in this theme is that these little dots and abutting vertical lines, in a musical score, I'm sure many of you already know this, but in a musical score, but maybe some of you don't, these indicate a repeat. So in between these symbols in a given section, you would play it again. Usually you repeat it a single time, so you play it a total of twice. There might be markings indicating a different number of repeats, but that would be the ordinary assumption. So you'd march through this part of the score, you'd get to here, and then you'd go back to here, play this part again, and then continue on. So I bet that means we're going to have to repeat these. I'm assuming a lot based on what these look like to me, but that is what they look like to me. So I wonder, question after a digression. I don't know, that's yeah. I'll need some crosses to make any progress there. Anyway, I've wasted a minute so far. Let's go. What hearts and ships may do, they may sink. And London district famous for its botanic garden, Kew Gardens, very, very famous, big botanical gardens. I'm on their mailing list, and I got an email from them the other day. They're already selling Christmas tickets for Christmas at Kew Gardens for 2022, which is sort of horrifying. Storied Mariner. This is probably quite obvious. Who is this? A famous sailor or captain or something like that. Princess in a Wagner opera. Is it Isolde? Tristan and Isolde? Okay, I see. And And let's check some easy crosses here. Non-kosher lunch order. Oh, BLT. Yes. The bacon would not be kosher. And fufara. This looks like a word that would mean an ado, a bit of a faff, a bit of a kind of a mess. It's a whole ado. It's a fufara. That sounds like what it would be. Sinbad is the storied mariner, of course. Sinbad, the sailor who sailed the seven seas or whatever he did. I don't know all of the Sinbad legends, but I think we're all sort of familiar with that character through cultural osmosis. Principia author, 1687, or Principia, I suppose it depends which Latin convention you're going with. Anyway, Newton, I think that would be. All right, so the question after a digression. Now, where was I? Does that... Yeah. No. Now, where were we? There we go. All right, I was right. I was right about the theme. So now, where were we? This reads, because if we march through these cells, now where were, and then we have to go back to the beginning of the repeat section, and we complete the word were, get back to the W, and then the E for where were we. So sorry for overly laboring this. I just want to make sure it's obvious why I'm spelling out now where we is what it sort of looks like. All right, great. I'm pleased that early suspicion was correct. So let's see if we can get some crosses there. Setting for the 2009 film Precious. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that film. In 6 letters. Harlem? Is that? What else is 6 letters and starts with H? OR staffers. Oh, well, that actually could be, because this could be registered nurses, RNs, and Alaskan Peak Denali. Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Wow. Great. Okay, so villain in the DC universe. I don't know. Picasso anti-war masterpiece, Guernica. And procedure of ski or midi, après-ski, après-midi. So après-ski, after the ski, the sort of the tradition of going into a nice hot chalet after, nice warm anyway, chalet after skiing and having a nice hot drink, that sort of thing. And then après-midi would be afternoon in French, literally afternoon. Villain in the DC universe, Ares. Oh, right. Right, from the Wonder Woman film. Right, okay. Sort of, I remember that now that I see it, but I don't think I would have remembered that on my own, but don't need to because we have crosses. German physicist after whom a unit of magnetism is named, Gauss. Probably pronouncing that poorly. And arenas typically have many of them. Uses, I suppose. Arenas tend to be multi-use venues, sporting matches, and concerts, and all kinds of things. To finish with up would be to sew up. Eventually we'll sew up this crossword, we'll finish it up. And Fantasia was the first commercial film shown in it. Oh, stereo, I bet. That's interesting. So two audio channels, left and right, which significant improvement over mono, single audio channel. And a surprise ending of sorts is an upset. There we go, surprise ending for a sports match, maybe one played in an arena. Here we have, it can be a showstopper. I'm not sure. I'm just going to move on. I'm with blank. 2016 campaign slogan. I'm with her was Hillary Clinton's, or one of her campaign slogans anyway. And to drop the ball is to err, to make a mistake. It can be a showstopper. Right. Oh, right. I just looked at this. What is it? I still don't know. Let's move on. Lokal of Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm not sure offhand. What about this? This is one of these repeating answers. Who wrote, who controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past. George Orwell. Yes, actually, yes, it is George Orwell because that works. Okay, so I recognize the quote. Wasn't sure if it would work in here. Boy, it's amazing how you look at this and you think you could never fit George Orwell in here, but of course, you're increasing the total length of this answer by 50% because you're adding 4 more letters to the existing 8. So we have G-E-O-R-G-E for George, and then O-R-W-E-L-L, George Orwell, great, or Jorwell. Thanks, ants. Thanks. Okay, red and rosé for 2 are wines. And like a stamp pad is inky, I suppose. Action after a change of mind. Different? No. Action after a change of mind. Repentance? Is that? No. I'm not seeing it. I'll move on. Rodomontade. Interesting. Some kind of walk? Easy mark. Could be a sap, maybe? And it can be a showstopper, right? I keep coming back to this, and I still don't know what it is. What about this? How mountain roads rise? Sharply? Steeply? They rise sharply? Sort of sounds right. And what about this? I'm starting right now. Maybe it is steeply, because this could be on it. I'm starting right now on it. And as I've mentioned a few times recently, when the clue is in quotation marks, it generally means, not strictly, but it generally means the answer will also itself be an exclamation. It'll be something you say. The lip of a vessel could be its edge, lip of a bowl, for instance. And it's measured in feet, not inches. I don't know, maybe edge is wrong or on it. What is that? What is this again? Action after a change of mind. And here we have rodomontade. I don't know, not very happy about these. Although, I'm starting right now, that does look okay. It can be a showstopper. I don't know. Classic John Donne line. John Donne, with these letters, I'm guessing this is no man is an island. No, yeah, that's going to work. No man is an island. This is the poet John Donne. An island. There we go. All right, so now I have all of the help I'm going to get in this upper, or no man island. That's funny. So this one remains readable. Some of these do remain readable, actually. Where we, no man island. They're sort of hard to read because my brain wants to say the full phrase. And Jorwell, not anything real. Maybe his buddies called him that. Okay, so let's see here. So as I say, we have all the help we're going to get in this northeastern corner here because all of the additional crosses from the rest of the puzzle have been completed. So it's all on us to figure this out. And I feel very unprepared for it. Action after a change of mind. Undo send? With an email, maybe? That sounds pretty silly. What about that? I mean, weirdly, that would allow edge. I'm just going to put it, it doesn't sound right to me, but I'm just going to put it in just in case. I can try it out. It can be a showstopper. Oh, a remote control. Oh, maybe it is undo send. Wow, I'm quite shocked about that. And it's measured in feet, not inches, is a poem. So the length of a poem, you could count the number of feet as sort of feet meaning syllables, stressed and unstressed syllables, that sort of thing. Not inches. You wouldn't literally measure it in inches. So I suppose that's what that's about. And then roundhouses, and there's a question mark here. So there's a pun or wordplay. Roundhouses. Is it pup? Is it pup tent? Round houses. Sorry. And then what is this again? Rodomontade. Pig talk? I mean, that is plausible in that there aren't very many things that could cross here and be plausible. What is it? I feel very insufficiently knowledgeable at the moment. Maybe I'll leave that for now and come back to it. Oh, wait, sorry. Pubs, a round of beers or something like that. And then rodomontade, big talk. Big talk. It must be, boasting, bragging, that kind of thing. So roundhouses as pubs, that is actually not very difficult, and I was making it extremely difficult for myself. So there we go. We have that there. And then big talk, this must be exaggeration or boasting, that sort of thing. Okay, great. Much more confident now. Let's move on. Pearl City greeting. Pearl City. Is that the nickname for somewhere in Hawaii? Is this Aloha? I'm actually not sure. Or maybe not the nickname. Maybe it's just an actual name of a city. I just don't know. 1970s to 80s Renault. So this is a car make. Oh, Le Cars. Le Car was a famous model. So maybe it's the plural of that. And then in Germany, this must be Hesse, which is familiar as location in Germany. I wouldn't have known it. Wouldn't have known offhand to associate it with Wiesbaden because I'm not probably as knowledgeable about German geography as I should be, so apologies. Cornmeal dish is grits. There we go. Southern United States staple. And Adams behind a camera would be Ansel Adams, the famous photographer. Here we have Republican Politico Michael. Michael Steele was the former, I want to say, chairman of the Republican Party in the U.S., and something like that. And certain amenities for first-class passengers. Oops, sorry, hold on. No, nothing. Okay. Michelle Obama vis-a-vis Princeton would be an alumna of Princeton, a former student, and a driller's blowout. Driller's blowout. I'm not sure. What about this? Certain amenities for first-class passengers. I don't know. Free drinks, better food. Leg rooms? That feels weird. Leg rooms feels very odd. Leg rests? Escorts offering. An escort could offer you an arm. This is starting to look like one of those. That's surprising. Something to break at a casino. To break. You could break a... What do you break at a casino? This is probably very clear to anybody who plays casino-style games ever, which I essentially never do. Okay, what about this? Suffer could be to ail. And here we have another theme, one of our other theme answers. So let's try and get this. Garden produce named for an Italian city. It's harder to see these when you have the letters towards the end rather than towards the beginning, I'm noticing. Much easier to start from the beginning, as I guess with any word, really. So could be blah. 1965 Shirley Ellis hit full of wordplay. I bet this is the name game. Shirley, as in Shirley, Bo Burley, Banana Nana Fo Furley, Me My Mo Murley. Shirley, if you remember that, the name game song, I think that's what that is. And what about this? Cooked slowly in a closed pot. It could be braised. You could braise meat, for instance, by simmering it over a long period of time in liquid. Cause for many people to scratch. And then what is this again? Oh, garden produce named for an Italian city. Roma tomatoes? Yeah. Yes. Roma tomatoes. There we go. All right. Definitely wouldn't have gotten that without a cross at the beginning, I think. Well, I suppose if there were enough crosses anywhere, you could obviously eventually get it, but the beginning made it easier. Roma tomatoes, there we go, named after Rome. And a gob. I don't know. I would have thought of that as your face, you're smacked in the gob or your mouth. Something well placed. And here we have cause for many people to scratch. What was this? Didn't see this. Grazed could be ate, as in grass animals, grazing on grass. Young celebrity socialite could be an ingenue. Is that how we spell this? Maybe. I know, maybe not. What was this? Gob, tan? I don't know. Cause for many people to scratch. this a different meaning of scratch? Is there scratch of a golf meaning or card game meaning? Something it sort of sound familiar, but I can't quite place it. Blacken on a grill could be to sear, again, meat. You could sear meat. You could sear meat before you braise it. In fact, if you're making a stew, you probably would want to do that. Forever Blank, 1996 humor book. Emma, maybe? I don't think I know this book, but I'm just trying to think of what could fit here, and it looks like a name, maybe. Some long-term plans in brief. Oh, it could be IRAs, individual retirement accounts, which are, as the name suggests, retirement savings investment vehicles. So they would be for the long term. So that makes sense. Here we have tanner's supplies. Could be dyes. You could have leather production, tanning that dyes the leather. Oh, cause for many people to scratch. Lottery. Oh, a scratch-off lottery card, lottery ticket. I see. Okay. And the young celebrity socialite is not an ingenue, which needed an E at the end anyway, so I was sort of confused about that. It's the it girl. I think less commonly used now, but was used a lot mid-century, I think, mid-20th century. So gob, tar. I'll need to look that up. And something well-placed. And it's got a question mark, right? I should note that. So there's some sort of pun or wordplay. Oil well-placed. I'm not sure. Have we looked at this one yet? No, I don't think we have. Go on horseback a la Lady Godiva. So she rode nude on horseback. So what is this? What is this? How do we get that into here? Something about commando? No, that doesn't fit. Could it be ride something? Oh, ride side saddle. Yeah, ride side saddle. Indeed, there we go. All right. The probably at this point largely outdated style of women horse riding, side saddle. I'm sure there are still people who practice it, but I'm sure less commonly. Like Bach's partita for violin number 3. Well, I don't know offhand, unfortunately, but it'll be in something. It's a fitting musical cross, though, that's for sure. In some letter for what key it's in. It's perfect. Idle. And head off could be avert a disaster, for instance. Certain amenities for first-class passengers. Maybe this is leg rests. But it feels though most cabins on a plane have a leg rest. They just might be those little tiny things that swivel down and don't really do much, but they do exist. Something to break at a casino. Oh, you could break even. I see. I should have paid more attention to the question mark, the pun there. You're going to break even. There's a bit of wordplay. And it's perfect. Oh, Eden, maybe the Garden of Eden from the Bible, from Genesis. And immobile could be inert. Something well placed is an oil rig. It is a well. It's sort of like an oil well, essentially, an oil rig. There we go. And upstanding fellows are gents, and then Bach's partita for violin number 3 must be in the key of E. So there we have that. Fist bump is a dap, right? And Dennis the Menace is a pest, I suppose. There's both the US and UK Dennis the Menace, and the UK Dennis the Menace arguably much more of a pest. By which I mean they're two completely unrelated comics characters. Debuted on the same day. That did come up. It was mentioned in the Crossword recently, but I'm going to mention it again because it's such an astonishing coincidence. Both the UK and the US debuted comics characters named Dennis the Menace on the same day in 1953 or something. I don't know exactly when. And it was a complete coincidence. And the characters are very different. The UK version is much more of a nightmare. It's got a dog named Nasher. He runs in the comics magazine, The Beano. Anyway, Driller's Blowout. Driller's Blowout. I don't know. I'm sorry. It seems like I should, but I don't. Chopper. An axe, maybe? one of the two acceptable spellings of axe, what two sets of dots within double lines indicate in musical scores. So here we have a sort of covert revealer. It's interesting. This is a revealer for the puzzle, but it's not making any reference to the other clues. That's sort of interesting. You don't see that very often, but it's a repeat, clearly. Yeah, so this is a revealer, and it's not present where Lyell's law would predict. And it's in the down clues, which is unusual. And, well, I suppose that's the only thing that differs. It is otherwise in the southeast corner of the grid, which is typically where the revealer would be. But it's in the downs, and it doesn't reference any of the other clues. It doesn't highlight them. It doesn't say, as in, it could say, what two sets of dots within double lines indicate in musical scores, and in, 5 answers in this grid or something like that. It could say that, but it doesn't. Anyway, we're left to figure it out on our own or to draw that connection. But I didn't see this, of course, until I'd already solved all of the repeat clues, which is sometimes how it goes. So to be off guard. To nap, maybe? And glorifies could be exalts. Wasatch Mountains Resort Town. Alta. I don't know much about Alta or the Wasatch Mountains, but I've heard of Alta anyway. And to take care of something is to handle it. A driller's blowout is a gusher. Oh, I wonder if that's related to oil rigs. Is that you'd sort of be drilling for oil maybe, and it would gush? Anyway, there's the Thursday. Really fun theme. And I'm very, I suppose, knowing how to read music, I haven't read music in a very, very long time, but this sort of thing is easy enough to remember if you ever did read music. So I suppose that gave me a bit of an advantage solving this puzzle. I'd be curious to hear from others who didn't go in with that knowledge how long it took them to pick apart this theme and successfully enter some answers, not purely through crosses, but once they actually understood what was happening. Because, as is often the case, sometimes I think, I forgot to check about whether the rest of them are readable without the repeating mechanic, because that can make, I think that can often be an intentional bit of not quite misdirection, but slight obfuscation on the part of the constructor to make the nature of the theme slightly less transparent. They're going to front load something like this that looks like now where we. And you could imagine, in theory, a theme in which were is missing from a number of clues or something. The revealer says the answer is were, and it says or what's missing or what's needed to be inserted to understand several clues in this puzzle, that sort of thing. Because these are still all words, now where we. But this one, of course, isn't Jorwell. Here we have No Man Island, which again, you could imagine a theme that results in No Man Island through other means than this. And then Romatoes, which is not another fun portmanteau. Jorwell loved eating Romatoes. And Ride Saddle, which this one even sounds like some kind of wordplay itself. I mean, you could imagine that being some kind of punny answer to a silly clue, that sort of thing. Ride Saddle, I don't know. Anyway, fun puzzle, fun theme. I don't think I've seen this before, but it was fun getting to use a bit of light musical knowledge to help solve the crossword. And again, I'm curious how others fared with this. And then I think as far as the level of challenge of the puzzle itself, broadly, beyond the theme, I don't think it was brutally difficult as far as Thursdays go. I think it was fairly approachable, all things considered, for a Thursday. But again, do let me know how you feel. I did really struggle up here. Why was that? I can't remember. I think I just missed, I think some of the sort of more wordplay-oriented answers, I just really didn't quite get quickly. Like, it can be a showstopper being remote. And then, oh, right, I didn't know the word rotomontade. I mean, I've probably seen it before, but it isn't a word that was really lodged in my vocabulary. That's certainly true. So I'll have to look it up. And then Roundhouse's pubs. Boy, this confounded me for a long time. And it's one of those ones where once you see it, it seems incredibly obvious, but it wasn't until I did. And yeah. So anyway, good solid Thursday puzzle. Really fun and clever theme. I do really enjoy these themes that are where you need to figure out a rule and then apply that rule yourself. There's something about that I find sort of satisfying. And learn what the rule even is. So now that this has been solved, let's address a few clues from yesterday's puzzle, the Wednesday puzzle. I had mused during the solving of the puzzle whether IHOP, the International House of Pancakes, is indeed an international chain, restaurant chain. And what I did quickly search this, and they don't have any in the UK. They might at some point in the near future, it seems like, but it doesn't seem like, not that the UK represents all of the world, it's just where I happen to live, but it doesn't seem to be a very international chain. But Kathy Swope explains that the international in IHOP's name was supposedly because the restaurant served items considered exotic to Americans at the time in the 1950s, such as French toast and Swedish crepes. According to the Los Angeles Times, the Lapin brothers also hired a Le Cordon Bleu chef for the original unusual pancakes, such as Tahitian orange pineapple and Kauai coconut. It's probably... I haven't been to an IHOP in several years, but I don't remember there being anything like Tahitian orange pineapple pancakes. Maybe there is. So maybe they've become less international over the years. Who knows? And Remy points out that knish, which is a food item, a turnover, was also in yesterday's mini crossword, clued traditional Jewish turnovers. And that's interesting. I've not yet solved the mini puzzles this week. I do that for Patreon subscribers every Friday, the week of minis. And so I guess we'll get to knish tomorrow on the minis. And I'll know what the answer is, I suppose. I've been warned. Remy also points out that the themes eye test is a standard eye test and is called the Snellen chart. I had wondered, yesterday's puzzle, if you recall, had the classic triangular eye test depicted in it in circled letters. And I wondered, are these the letters in the standard eye test? And apparently they are. And Remy says, however, I am more familiar with the Monnoyer chart, which seems to be more common in France. It ends in ZU. One fun fact about it is that its creator, Ferdinand Monnoyer, I actually don't know if this person is French. I sort of assumed they were because Remy refers to it being more common in France, but it might be from somewhere else. Anyway, Ferdinand Monnoyer, I don't know what it is. He's hidden his name in that chart. That's incredible. So that sort of suggests to me that it's pretty arbitrary. It's probably not any magical sequence of letters. These have to be if the creator can hide their name in it without it becoming useless. And Elliot Robinson answers my speculation. Couldn't people just memorize the eye test? Yeah, apparently so. Elliot Robinson says, apparently the New York DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, had to stop using the Snellen chart layout a few years back because too many people were memorizing it in order to get their driver's license. Who would ever think it was a good idea to have a standardized set of random letters? You learn something new every day. That is true, especially if you solve the crossword every day. And Kathleen Quinn explains that Bedtime for Bonzo, which was name was familiar to me, but I didn't know why, it's a film from 1951 starring Ronald Reagan, who became the 40th president of the United States. Reagan stars as a psychology professor studying nature versus nurture by attempting to teach human morals to a chimpanzee named Bonzo. Although Reagan declined to star in the movie's sequel, when president, he screened the film for staff and guests at Camp David. And then Jack replies, to add a bit more later context, it's also the source of the Ramones song Bonzo Goes to Bitburg. That's where the name of that Ramones song comes from. So there we go. Bedtime for Bonzo. Cultural touchstone, I suppose. And I think that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone who might enjoy this series, pass it along to them as well. Very much appreciate that. Word of mouth, and I guess trying to push that subscriber and like count, I guess, up. The only mechanisms I have to spread the word about this show. So to the extent you could help with that in any way, please do. You could recommend this to someone you know personally or through your online community of choice. And if you'd like another online community to be part of, a small but cozy community, you could join the Daily Solve Discord chat server in the description field underneath the video. And Patreon subscribers get an extra channel in there. Anyway, that's it for today, and that's it for the themed puzzles this week. So do come back tomorrow for the Friday puzzle, a bit of a trickier one most likely, and our first themeless puzzle of the week. So come back for that one. But until then, please have an excellent remainder of your Thursday. Take care.